and welcome to another double-blind episode of We Only Look In. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I have lost over 100 pounds and other pounds also. I am one of your hosts, and I'm a Tiny Habits certified coach.
Impressive.
And with me today is
Donald Weigel, and I am also one of your hosts, and I have lost about 100 pounds, and we are here to talk about it.
We sure are. And you may remember from only 30 seconds ago when I said this was a double-blind episode.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That is a science-y way.
I love that part of this episode.
You loved it? That was the best part?
That was the highlight? That was a great part of this episode so far.
So double-blind is a science-y way of saying we don't know what we're going to say.
Yeah.
Neither of us. We are going to be talking about something, but neither of us know what the other is going to say about it. That's what it says in Wikipedia about double. Did I say Wikipedia?
Wikipedia, yeah. Well, Wikipedia.
It's like the beta version of VHS.
When you misspell Wikipedia, it takes you to Wikipedia, and it's really not as good.
No.
It's really...
Nothing has been fact-checked.
No, not a thing. We are unfortunately going to lay some harsh truths upon you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I know you just said we don't know what we're going to say, but what we do know we're going to say is this time of year, this episode will be released on October 16th. Mm-hmm. And on October 16th, there are exactly 11 weeks left in 2022.
How is that possible?
Yeah, if you're listening to this when it comes out. And if you're not listening to this when it comes out, there are still 11 weeks left in 2022.
Oh, I was going to say too bad for you.
On October 16th.
I saw a tweet the other day. Someone said, unlike the rest of the world, I can believe it's already October.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, I generally can't believe things.
So at this time of year, and look, I'm guilty of this as well, we have a tendency to say to ourselves, I have a tendency to say to myself, well, hey, I made a whole bunch of New Year's resolutions, and I set myself a whole bunch of goals. And did I read 12 books this year? No. Well, maybe I did, actually. But did I read 12 books this year? But... Just using it as an example. Yeah, I said on my New Year's resolution I was going to read 12 books this year, and I'm not going to make it by the end of the year. So guess what? I'm going to read none.
Yeah, I think we have a habit of looking at October and just kind of being like, you know what? There's so much going on in the next 2 months, or I don't know how many months are left. I don't know how many weeks there are. There's no way to check.
I just said 11 weeks.
Oh. No, but if you didn't listen to this, you wouldn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
But just being like, these are flyover months. I feel like I have so much going on. I'm just not going to think about my healthy habits until New Year. Because then I'm confident in the New Year. I'll be so rested. I'll be so ready. My future self is so ready that I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to eat as much as I can in the next.
And all of these holidays are coming up. And there's so many opportunities to eat. I just am not going to think about this until next year. And think about, though, how did that work for you last year?
Ooh,
when you did the same thing?
Question.
Yeah. And I'm guessing it probably didn't go well if you're in that position. And look, if you're one of the people that is in a great position right now, if you are like super on it, if your year has gone wonderfully, then I am super happy for you. I think there are some things still to think about in this year as we enter the holiday season that we can talk about. But if you're like most people, you're probably saying to yourself, well, I told myself I was going to lose X number of pounds this year. And
that's a wish, not a plan.
And I'm not going to make it. So you know what? I'm just not going to do anything till next year. Yeah. And what we would like to do is come up with, we're each going to come up with our favorite sort of tips and things to think about to get you through to next year so that you don't throw up your hands and give up entirely.
And to make it extra fun, we have each come up with our own lists. but we don't know what the other is going to say, which is super fun.
Yeah,
isn't it fun,
that's
everybody?
The double blind. So what we're hoping to do is come up with 11 tips for 11 weeks left in the year.
And maybe it'll just be 5. We don't know, because maybe we have all the same things. We don't know what's going to happen. This is very exciting for you and for me. Ooh, but before we get started, can we remind them of one more thing?
I was going to remind them of 2 more things.
Oh, okay. Well, then you remind. Okay, you go first.
So just to frame this, part of the reason we're talking about this is, okay, it's October. You're like, well, I'll just give up. I'll wait till next year. But October, November, December, that is 25% of the year that you are giving up on. That is 3 months out of the year. Okay, and you're like, well, Donald, there's only 11 weeks left. That's less than that. Well, that's still 22% of your year.
That's a lot of percent.
That you're giving up
if
on.
you're giving yourself a rating, if you've been like, I've been 100% this entire year so far, I'm just going to like phone it in for the rest. That's a lot. That's like, you're already getting like, what is that, a B or is that a C?
Yeah, no, that's a B. That's a low B.
Okay, that's a low B.
That's a low B. And you may also be out there saying, but Donald, time is an illusion and the calendar is a social construct.
Oh my God.
That's not this podcast.
Are you a teenager? That's totally the kind of thing I would say.
Yeah.
When
Exactly.
I was, I don't know, 40 or something.
Like when you were a 40-year-old teenager?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the kind of thing that our daughter throws at us all the time.
Yeah,
Who actually is a teenager right now, yeah. And also, I just wanted to remind everyone, this is something that we talked about in another episode, probably about a year ago, but a review of studies showed they were evaluating holiday weight gain, showed that the average weight gain between Thanksgiving and New Year's is about 0.8 pounds. So you're gaining almost a pound if you're sort of a regular person. However, people who were already overweight or obese gained as much as 5 pounds during that period.
Rookie.
And a more recent evaluation also found that obese people experienced even greater increases of body fat over the holiday season compared to people in the normal weight range. So I'm guessing, chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you are like Catherine and I, and you are in that boat of people who are far more at risk to put on 5+ pounds in the next 3 months. And you know what? I could put on a lot more than that if I really just threw up my hands and did nothing. And it is important to me to remember that I don't want to dig myself into a deeper hole that I have to get out of come January 1st. Why not do some things right now that are going to set yourself up for success in the new year?
Yeah, I was just thinking about digging deeper into your heart instead of deep. Sorry, I was trying to like be an inspirational movie, but it didn't really work out. But I should probably just listen to what you have to say instead of trying to come up with some quippy feedback. But
all right, well, how about this? How about you give your first tip first?
Oh, my first tip. Well, what I was going to say before we got started is please remember still while this is coming out, if you're listening to it when it comes out, that candy that you eat today is still not Halloween candy.
Yeah.
It's October candy, which is fine, but don't pretend that there's like, have you ever, I mean, aside from like the toilet paper situation that we had a couple of years ago, no one's ever run out of candy. Like you never go and are like, oh my gosh, what shall I do?
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about the candy. Just, it's candy, eat it on Halloween. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Halloween candy is only Halloween candy on Halloween.
Yeah. No.
And that it was procured from trick-or-treating.
But Donald, it's pumpkin shaped.
Yeah, no, that's still just candy.
It doesn't count. Okay. So I can go first with my first?
Yes, you
thing?
should go first.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's my number one. And I don't know what Donald's going to say. Maybe they're the same. This is going to be so fun for you
Yeah,
and
this
for
will
me.
be super fun, yes.
Okay, so I did a little bit of math. Donald talked about how many percentages of the year were left.
Yeah.
It turns out if you add up Halloween, Thanksgiving, maybe you got some Hanukkah in there, Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year, maybe a birthday. Donald has a birthday at this time of year.
I do.
And maybe you go to 2 parties. Maybe you're like super extroverted and that sounds fun.
Yeah. I can't wait to see where this is going.
Okay, so let's say you're a Christmas person. That's 9 days out of 77 days of the year that are like, oh, I couldn't possibly because there are 9 days coming up out of 77. That's about 11%
Yeah.
of your days.
Right.
Out of 100% of the days left of the year, that's only 11%. Sure, indulge for 11 days. That's super duper. But if you indulge for all of them, like Donald was saying, that's almost 25% of your year. So 9 days off track, it was a blessing to have 9 days off track. It's fine, but don't give up the entire rest of the year just for 9 days of planned indulgences. We're not saying don't eat everything, don't eat anything for the rest of the year, but 9 days, that's fine, do that. But don't blow 77 days.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so my first one, as we're heading in, I oftentimes use the holiday season as an excuse to drink a lot more.
Ooh.
And to drink a lot more calories in general, even if it's not alcohol.
Oh, like the spiced things and
all the nogs. Mostly it's nogs in my case.
See, it's so funny. I'm so glad I don't like nogs.
But there's, like most of the year, I'm just a black coffee person, and then this time of year, it's like, ooh, like peppermint mocha. It's like, ooh, pumpkin spice. And I get sucked into that sort of thing. And then, of course, there's all of the it feels like extra opportunities to drink alcohol. So don't do it. Calories. And just as a little reminder, 1 cup of eggnog, which is a much smaller portion, I think, than most people would have, is 350 calories and 20 grams of fat. Oh. Which is that's a meal's worth of calories almost, for me, generally speaking. And then you throw in all the rum and Coke and sweet dessert wines that people throw in. 6 ounces of a sweet dessert wine is 280 calories. So, that's a lot of calories that you're drinking. And when you drink your calories, they don't really satisfy you.
Yeah. And I mean, and piggybacking on that, make some policies about it. Sure, enjoy the seasonal treat, but decide we have a policy of on Fridays, we would go to Starbucks and we would get a tall drink, not the extra large, whatever gallon size. So make some policies about when you're going to have the treats as well.
Yes, indeed. Okay, what's your next one? This will be 3.
Okay, let's see. Okay, this is a big one. I probably should have saved this for the end, but what are you going to do? Okay, focus on the identity you want to cultivate this season. What seasonal activities do you want to enjoy?
Wow, that's really good.
What would, and focusing on identity, we've done a few episodes on that, is what would an active, healthy person do at the holidays? Think about them. Do you see them on the streets? What are they doing?
Yeah.
Get some binoculars.
Yeah.
But
get some binoculars.
So what would an active person do? Well, they would sign up for a turkey trot or a fun run or, go to a botanical garden and do one of their holiday spooky walks or holiday walks. What would a purposeful person do? What would a calm and joyful person do? What would a healthy person do? Maybe you don't have the answers to that because you don't have anything to, mirror or shadow someone on doing that. Join Wolt Place, WOLT Place.
That's a great idea.
Place to find out what other healthy people do. Some people are able to moderate treats. Some people abstain, but figuring out ways to really focus on that identity of not being well, I always ruin this time of year. It's terrible. I'm not going to do it. It's how do you want to feel January 1st?
Yeah.
So, and part of that ties into what Donald said at the beginning of how did last year go? I ended up indulging in some random treats. Being more purposeful about my indulgences really does matter. And we'll go more into that later as my other tips come by. But focus on that identity, not that, I can't have anything good. But you know what? I like to moderate because it makes my body feel good.
Well, and I still have a problem with that. I identify as a person who is active and healthy, but I still, even after all these years, fall back into that. I spent most of my adult life being somebody who is I am a couch potato. I am somebody who loves to indulge in food. And it's really easy to fall back into that when I let myself, and I really have to remind myself of the identity that I have now.
Yeah, good job. I like your identity.
All right, so this this next one of mine sort of ties into what you were just talking about, and that is to Plan holiday activities that don't revolve around food.
That's my next one.
That was your next one? Oh, no, I stole it.
No. You say what you're going to say, and then I'll... See, look.
Yeah.
We're not so different, you and I.
So oftentimes when, in fact, all the time, really, if I'm being honest, may I be honest? When somebody suggests an activity or when there is an activity coming up, my first thought is, what sort of food and drink can I make a part of this activity? And instead of doing that, try and come up with things that don't automatically revolve around food. Think about playing games or crafting or pumpkin carving or going to like jack-o'-lantern exhibitions or, later in the season, Christmas light shows, or just go for a walk or drive to look at decorations with people. How about holiday-themed concerts or movies? Things that, those things could involve food and drink, but they don't have to. Like things that aren't inherently food-related. Try and make the holidays a little more about those and a little less about it being automatically food-based.
Exactly. So I had the same thing. And you know what, Donald? Now that you mentioned carving pumpkins, it sounds like you love to carve pumpkins. So maybe we should do it. Don hates carving pumpkins, and so does our daughter.
Carving pumpkins.
You never want to carve pumpkins.
I would carve a pumpkin. I'm just really bad at it. I have almost zero artistic talent when it comes to that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. See, we're getting to know one another.
Yeah.
You and I.
I could maybe get away. Like the one time I carved a pumpkin, it really came out kind of janky.
Well, that's okay.
As an adult.
It's fine. Sorry to call you out on national
television. No,
television.
it's fair. It's fair. There are lots of things I do dislike that bring others joy.
Anyway, so I kind of had the same thing, hikes, walks, shows, pumpkin patches,
Oh, yeah,
plays.
hikes. That's a good idea.
So there's lots of different ways to get an activity. Don't make them necessarily food related. Have them be a little walkabout. There we go. I said it.
Yes,
so
yes,
that was yours.
Yes.
So
that was number 4.
Okay, so my next one was work on the idea of maintenance calories. If you're just like, but I don't know, it's too much, think about maintenance calories on days that you know are going to be maybe more indulgent. And part of that too is maybe setting a calorie ceiling. Sometimes when we go off track or we know it's going to be a super indulgent day, we just decide we're not going to track at all. Make a calorie ceiling for yourself. You can do much less damage tracking and deciding, you know what, I'm going to hit 2,500 calories today. That's more than enough for a big holiday treat. That's fine. But sometimes when we go over 2,000 calories, we just go, you know what, forget it. And then you wake up like in a dumpster at 4,000 calories.
Yeah, I've had food hangovers in my life,
with like
for sure.
Crumbs on your shirt that you don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Or you know what is actually proof in the trash can of like, wait, why are all these Doritos packages in the trash?
Right.
So set a food ceiling for yourself. Put a maximum in there so that you don't go bonkers.
Bonkers?
Actually,
Whoa.
I wrote in here bananas.
Oh,
which
bananas,
nobody has
yeah.
a banana problem.
Yeah, bananas or bonkers. Don't go either. And definitely don't go banana bonkers. And just as a sort of related idea to that, we are talking about not digging yourself into a deeper hole. Not necessarily. Look, if it's too overwhelming to you, the idea of trying to actually actively like achieve goals during this time, remember that maintaining is a victory.
Yeah.
And this wasn't my next tip. It was just a related idea.
I didn't cover that. Good job.
Okay, so my next tip is that remind yourself on a almost constant basis, if you're me, you have to, that holiday joy and holiday stress are not excuses to indulge.
Oh.
And when you do indulge, do it intentionally and mindfully. And for me, that is a huge one because I will oftentimes be like, hey, this is a cause to celebrate. I'm going to eat all of the blank that's in the room.
Yeah.
Or, oh my goodness, there's so much stress with whatever is happening right now. It's the holidays. I really deserve to eat all of these treats. And I have to really be honest with myself. And when I am honest with myself, I will very oftentimes decide not to have those treats because I will realize that I'm just sort of, tricking myself into an excuse to eat whatever I want.
Yeah. And I think part of that too, it's sort of ties in, is that like the more we look at the actual calendar and the days that we're looking forward to indulging, the more strategically we can plan and be satisfied with skipping those surprise treats that we're not really interested in. So someone brings in something to work and going like, oh no, you know what? I'm going to Disneyland to look at the holiday light. I'm going to look at the holiday lights. It's definitely not for churros.
Right.
But just being like, oh yeah, I've got this coming up and that coming up. I'm going to save it for that. Like, I didn't expect that Janice in accounting would. I don't know why everybody in accounting is
Accounting's always trying to sabotage our health goals.
No, we have accountants in the family. They're treasured members of the family. Accountants are great. But if someone brings in some random treat, you don't have to engage. You can prioritize the things that you really, really care about.
Yes, indeed.
So that one was still yours.
Yeah, that was 6.
So sort of tying into that is watch out for those hidden stressors that are going to come up. Someone I talked to recently had an aspiration of losing a lot of weight in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Without having lost weight in the previous months.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so what big plan do you have in place to totally white knuckle it and do that? Like Donald said, maintaining is a victory, but just remember that daylight saving is coming up, or it's going away. One of those. Whatever happens, nobody knows.
No one really knows
in November,
whether it begins or ends.
An hour goes somewhere.
Yeah.
We don't know where it goes.
Yeah.
But those hidden, like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot it was going to be dark at 4:00 in the afternoon. And now I can't get in my evening walk. And now everything's ruined. And I have seasonal depression and it's cold and it's rainy and whatever. Remember that is going to happen. Remember that somebody's going to get sick. Something's going to go off track.
Yeah.
When we pretend that we have complete control over the next 11 weeks and then something happens and we get super discouraged, we get an injury. Like I said, someone gets sick, a big work deadline comes up, and then we throw up our hands and say like, see, I can just never make this work. Just know that something unexpected is going to happen. We did an episode called Winter is Coming.
Yes.
When Game of Thrones was a thing.
Yeah.
Which
it kind of is again.
I saw something that was like, the first episode of Game of Thrones was released 35 years ago or whatever. I'm like, how is that possible?
35
no, but
years ago.
I think Lost was 20 years ago or 18 years ago.
Oh,
which
man.
Is, but again,
I
bananas.
feel so old.
Is it bananas or bonkers?
It's both.
Bonker.
Bananonkers.
Okay, that didn't work. But just remember that the X factor is always looming in the darkness behind you.
Oh my goodness, that is so... Well, it is Halloween season, so I guess...
No, but like every time someone's like, I'm shocked. Like a big project came up or how is this? It always happens. There's never
these
this
things should not be surprises.
Yeah, no, nothing is a surprise. So surprises are not a surprise.
Okay, now let's see if I can surprise you with my next one.
Oh.
No, probably not.
I'm shocked.
So this one is sort of, okay, to kind of sort of make it Halloween related. I don't know why I feel like Harry Potter is sort of Halloween related, but you know how like they had a Patronus and, it was like a symbol of something that was dear to them.
Yeah, and it was a deer.
It was a deer, yeah. So think about the foods that are your patroni or patronuses.
Patronuses.
And only make a policy to only indulge when it's something you truly care about through the holiday season. I think that I have, had a occasion to, I go to a party or I'm at the office and I come across something that, is fine, but it's there. And so I decide to eat it. And then something I truly care about comes along and I also eat that.
Yeah.
And so then I've dug myself into a much deeper calorie hole than I would have otherwise if I had just stuck to the thing that I actually really cared about.
Yeah, we generally go to an Italian marché. Actually, they call it a mercato, if we're being honest. I'm talking Italian. But they have...
No one knows what a marché is.
I'm just a jerk, that's all.
I think you made that up.
We go to Italy, which is a place that we go, and we get holiday panettone.
It has "eat" in the name, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it eats things. No, we eat things.
Yeah.
But we have panettone, which I really look forward to. I plan it. But okay, this is the cheesiest thing that's ever happened. But you brought up Patronus, so you could do expecto panettone.
Oh my goodness.
That was not good.
I thought you were going to say that my Patronus is a lump of cheese, because it probably is.
It probably is. But like actually focusing, that was actually one of my prioritize your must-haves, so that you really enjoy them.
I stole another one of yours. You've stolen none of mine.
But I will add upon it. And if something really is a priority to you, you can share the treat with someone. Get a single serving of it, get a single whatever, and share. Or again, pair it on a special occasion with a special activity. Make sure, if you love the hot chocolate and churro at the, pumpkin carving festival or whatever, make sure to prioritize that, but share it with someone. Get one churro and share it. There, I said it. You still get the enjoyment, but you're not getting the caloric bump. So,
all right.
So that one still counts as yours.
Yeah, that's still mine. Okay, so now this will be yours. This will be number 9. Number 9.
Okay.
Number 9.
So my this is actually my last one, I think, is add in a festive daily practice.
Oh,
some seasonal.
Again, that is not on my list.
Seasonal practice. So again, look at the season that you're in. We've got members and listeners in the Southern Hemisphere. It's warming up down there with your Celsiuses. I don't know how many Celsiuses are the bad ones. Maybe you have 30 of them or 40 of them.
Don't get me started on the metric system.
Okay, I won't. But so for me, my daily practice is doing a short walk in the morning or after work and looking at the holiday lights or the Halloween decorations.
Yeah.
Really embrace a small habit that you can add to your season to make it feel more festive. I love walking in our neighborhood and seeing all the new decorations that are coming up. Not everyone puts them up at the same time. So focus on some added activity that will bring you seasonal cheer, again, without the calories. Also, if you're in a different hemisphere or something like that. Some other hemisphere. I don't know how many there are.
I don't know how many hemispheres there are. No one knows.
Hemi means half.
I know how many hemispheres there are.
In the half-a-sphere.
The joke is I pretend not to know.
I know, it's fun. But is this the time for walks on the beach in the sand, which is lovely? Is this snowy adventures to collect your pine cones? Or, whatever it is. If you're in a hot climate, collect your cactuses as you go out for walks.
Yeah. That holiday cactus collecting.
Oh my gosh. I had a friend in high school who literally put a cactus in her pocket because it was on the ground and she thought that it lost its stingers when it wasn't on its. So that don't do that.
Don't put a cactus in your pocket.
No.
If you take one tip from us during the holiday season, that's a special bonus tip. Don't put a cactus in your pocket.
Oh my gosh, that's good for all year. Really, maybe we should start every episode with that.
Yeah.
Little known fact.
So that was your last one?
Yeah, it was just like add something extra to
Okay, so
your
that was 9. So I have more on my list.
Okay,
so
go for it.
I will get us to 11 and beyond. So my next one is don't give in to the false holiday scarcity mentality.
Ooh, that's a good one.
They only sell pumpkin spice lattes at this time of year, so I must drink all of them.
Oh my gosh.
They only have pumpkin flavored things at this time of year, so I must eat all of it. They only have Christmas cookies for 1 month a year, so I have to eat as many as I can because I won't have any opportunity. Guess what?
Uh-oh, what?
You can get pumpkin flavored things whenever you want if you really want to. And you can have cookies every day of the year. There's no scarcity of candy and cookies and any of that. So you're using that, and I have done it many, many times, used it as an excuse to eat those things when really I just wanted to absolve myself of the responsibility and guilt of eating all of the calories.
Yeah. And you know what? And sometimes that limited time only, it definitely, it does create that scarcity mentality, but that's not a problem. enjoy it, savor it, make sure that when you're enjoying it, you're paying attention to the food so that you don't go back for a second one because you forgot you ate the first one, which is something I used to do. But yeah, that whole limited scarcity thing is just a ploy by the man.
Whoa. I didn't know it was a man ploy. Okay. And then the next one is somewhat related. And this one I think is really hard for people. And I think it's really hard. I think people may even get angry at the idea of this.
Are you people?
Well, I am a person. So your holiday traditions don't have to happen in order for the holiday to happen. Okay. So if your tradition is to make your 3,000 calorie like Thanksgiving surprise or your 3,000 calorie Halloween surprise, if that's your thing, it will still happen if you don't do that. And you don't have to have the incredibly indulgent food for the holiday to still happen. Holidays are about family and friends and the event itself, and they don't have to be about food. And I know that's a bummer. Catherine's giving me a look right now.
I'm giving a faraway look. No, but I agree. I mean, and I think that ties into the but my children look forward to baking cookies. Oh, I won't be a good mother if I don't bake cookies. You can make paper gingerbread houses made of paper.
Or even a regular gingerbread house, which technically involves food, but you don't want to eat those things. Like if you buy one of the kits, like from the store.
Yeah, they're like 7-year-old candies. Yeah, make sure you leave the candy out on the counter open so that it gets dry and hard so that you don't actually want to eat it. But you're right. There are many festive things to do that don't revolve around food.
Yeah. All right. So that was 11 for 11 weeks. I have 3. Let's do quick 3 bonus tips. Okay. Tip number 1 is maintain the habits that you can.
Oh, nice.
Don't expect too much of yourself. The next one is don't go hungry to a gathering.
Yeah.
/ don't starve yourself before a big meal.
Yeah.
And a big meal / party. So that is a huge mistake that I've made over and over again. Like I would try to eat as little as possible before Thanksgiving dinner and then would eat like 5,000 calories at Thanksgiving. And it was a really bad move. Like just eat a reasonable amount of food throughout the day and then you won't go completely off the rails at the
bananas?
At banana bonkers. Yeah, but bonkers. But what did we decide it was? I don't remember. And then the last one is be kind to yourself.
Ooh. And
give yourself a break. I don't know how many times I spent going, oh my goodness, I really blew it at that holiday party last night. I am a terrible person and I would say awful things about myself. Just be kind to yourself. Everybody's human. We're all just trying to get through this. And you make a mistake in air quotes. You wake up the next day and you don't make it again and you learn from it. And that's how we grow and we change and we eventually hit our health and fitness goals.
Nicely done, Donald. I like that we didn't have all the same tips.
I like it too.
I've learned a lot from you.
Thank you. I've learned a lot from you.
I always sound sarcastic. No, those were really good.
And one more bonus tip is continue to listen to this podcast throughout the holiday season. That's a good one. We are grateful for you. We are really, truly grateful for each and every one of you, and we appreciate you listening to this episode. And you can find all of our episodes, including many more on holidays and navigating the holidays, on our website. Also, wherever you found this podcast, we're just about everywhere in terms of the podcast world. But our episodes are all still available at our website, which is weonlylookthin.com.
Yep. And if you are at our website, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is a Facebook-based accountability group for women. And it is not a weight loss plan, but it is a place for support, accountability, and also just keeping your health goals front of mind. Whenever I step away and just go like, oh, it's too much to think about it, I gain weight.
Yeah.
And so staying in a group that is focused on health goals and stresses and boundaries and all of that, it just helps keep you in mind of what your ultimate aim is, which is a healthy relationship with yourself and with food. So we have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wool Place is right for you.
And if you would like to interact with us in other ways, you can do so on social media at We Only Look Thin on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you would like to send us an email, you can do that as well. Our email address is weonlylookthin@gmail.com. And we enjoy getting episode suggestions. We really enjoy getting praise. And we also will answer questions. If you have something we haven't touched upon in a show, send us an email.
Yep. And if you have a couple of extra minutes and feel generous, you can head over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it help the outer space algorithms do whatever they do to help other people.
Outer space ones.
Yeah. I don't know where, isn't the cloud in the outer space?
Sure. Yeah, no, they're
the clouder space.
They're in very cold rooms in the desert usually.
Yeah. Where the cactuses are.
Where the cactuses are, where you're not putting them in your pockets. Yes.
But it also just helps us know that what we're doing matters. We have been doing this for almost 5 years.
We are, wow, I'm drawing a blank. Yes, almost 5.
And we do this out of the goodness of our hearts, everybody.
Yeah.
So give a little bit back and let other people know that our podcast matters. It helps us just keep up that motivation to keep on going.
Did you hear how terrified I was because I couldn't do that math quickly enough in my head? Is it 5 years?
I've totally
is it 6 years? Yeah,
lost track.
Yeah, we're about to hit our 250th episode.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And another way that would really help us out, if you would be so kind, is to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is probably the best way in which the show grows. From if you're on a message board, if you're in an elevator with a stranger, if you're talking to somebody you care about, and you give them a heads up about our show, and they decide to listen, we would be grateful.
Yeah, we sure would.
So if you're still trying to figure out whether you want to go bananas or go bonkers, or if you want to dig a deeper hole or dig deeper into your heart.
Also, cactuses in pockets for some reason.
Just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.